This is Sarah Mikesell with the Poultry Site, and today we're speaking with Dr. Tom Delfonso. He is the Worldwide Director of Animal Nutrition at the U.S. Soybean Export Council. Thanks for being with us today, Tom.
Thanks, Sarah. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Feed is, of course, the number one input cost. It's also always top of mind for producers. Many producers judge protein sources by purchase price per ton. How does that view distort the true economics of feed formulation? And what does cost per digestible ingredient reveal that price alone cannot, Tom?
Well, there's a lot to that question, and I
I
like it all.
know
So let's
it's a
let's
big
let's break
one.
it. Let's break it down. Well, let's go to the last part there, the digestible nutrients, because
Okay.
depending on the ingredient, it can bring a lot of nutrients. And let me tell you about my favorite ingredient, and that is soybean meal made from U.S. soy. It is full of tremendously valuable nutrients that you're counting on in feed formulation. You're counting on essential amino acids being highly digestible, like lysine, methionine, threonine, tryptophan. You're counting on the calories being metabolizable. And that one ingredient provides a basis, a foundation for the entire diet. That soybean meal made from U.S. soy is providing the nutrients you need in the diet for profitable animal production. So now, how do you build a diet? You're mixing many different ingredients together, and you're trying to meet the nutrient requirements at least cost. And so this focus on least cost feed
Right.
has already sort of forgotten the fact that those nutrients are providing digestible, essential amino acids, metabolizable energy that is directly related to rate of growth, to feed conversion and efficiency, and to uniformity. So one way of thinking about feed formulation, and many nutritionists are starting to think about this differently, is not looking at the least cost diet per ton of feed, but to look at the value of the nutrients in those ingredients that are leading to animal performance. There's some nutrients in soybean meal that we don't formulate on. We don't formulate on some of the functional compounds, some exciting compounds in soybean meal, such as isoflavins, saponins, bioactive peptides that are enhancing the digestive system and the immune system. And
Right.
these things work together. Digestion, coming back to that first part, the the digestibility of essential amino acids and calories comes from not just the ingredients, it comes from the animal, it comes from the gut microflora, it comes from the way the animals are managed. And so thinking about how to formulate a diet that provides healthy nutrition, that provides a good digestive process in the animal, as well as providing the nutrients, is a new way to look at feed formulation. In fact, there's even ways to formulate diets to maximize predicted profitability by taking into account the performance of the animals at the same time you're selecting your ingredients. And this is some of the most exciting things going on in feed formulation these days.
It's really evolving, isn't it, Tom?
It is really evolving. I recall when I started my training in nutrition, um, we were talking about lowering crude protein to reduce environmental impact and balancing those essential amino acids and calories. So,
Right.
the paradigm at first was, oh no, crude protein. We need to keep crude protein high. But no, what we need are the essential amino acids and the metabolizable energy that are in the ingredients to provide um, the performance that we expect from today's animal genetics.
You note that soybean meal derived from U.S. soy delivers lysine more economically than cheaper ingredients like sunflower or canola meal. Can you explain how higher digestibility changes the math on cost on feed cost efficiency?
Absolutely. So when we look at feed cost, we're looking at all the different ways to meet the nutrient requirements for the essential amino acids and calories, and that means digestibility. So when we look at what is the highest quality protein ingredient that you can have in the diet, that is soybean meal derived from U.S. soy.
Right.
It provides a bundle of nutrients. It provides all of the essential amino acids at a high level of digestibility and consistency. And by the way, soybean meal made from U.S. soy has as many calories per kilogram or pound as corn. So our
Wow.
research over the last decade or so has shown that it's today's animal genetics that are able to convert
Huh.
dietary protein into and nitrogen into useful compounds for animal growth and animal protein production. That's what's called the genetic potential. For the animals to reach their genetic potential, you need to have those high quality ingredients. It's like a high performing automobile. And
Right.
so when they're provided consistently high levels of essential amino acids and metabolizable energy, they will perform to their genetic potential. And if you're looking at other ingredients, so not just these sunflower meal or palm kernel meal or distiller's grains or other sources of protein you might be tempted to try in your diet, even if you choose soybean meal made from the wrong source, you're making a poor management decision. Soybean meal derived from other origins like Brazil and Argentina do not have the consistency or the digestibility that U.S. soy does. So if you want your animals to perform to their genetic potential, consider for the essential amino acids and the calories in the diet, it's soybean meal derived from U.S. soy that's going to give that payback.
Excellent. Tom, broiler diets are extremely sensitive to amino acid balance and energy to lysine ratios. What risks do formulators take when they replace U.S. soy with alternatives such as DDGs or sunflower meal, even when those options appear less expensive? We're going back to the bottom line again here, I have a
Right,
feeling. So,
right, right. It's so common for our industry to look at the reducing the price of feed, the cost of feed. That's a natural thing to do. Feed is the highest cost element in animal production, all animal systems. But we have to look at the cost of the animals not performing well. So long as animal protein is worth more than animal feed, and you know what they say, it's only chicken feed.
right.
um, um, it's better to focus on getting the animals to reach their genetic potential with high quality ingredients. And soybean meal derived from US soy might be a little bit more expensive, honestly, not much than soybean meal from other origins. It might be more expensive than these byproducts that you mentioned, like distiller's grains or palm kernel meal or whatever we're seeing out there. But pay me now or pay me later. And if
Right.
you're if you're if you're trying to lower the cost by choosing a whole bunch of different highly variable ingredients with low digestibility, you're going to be paying for it at the processing plant. The birds are not going to grow as fast, they're not going to be uniform, they're not going to convert as well, and those costs need to be taken into account when making ingredient purchasing decisions.
Consistency is the recurring theme in your analysis, Tom. How do the uniform nutrient profile and sustainable production of U.S. soy translate into more predictable flock performance and profitability at the farm level?
Wow, this is a, I like thinking of this as the consistency and quality from dirt to dinner. So let's start with dirt, the soil. Um, the U.S. soy farmer is producing the highest quality protein and energy ingredient in the diet in a sustainable manner. And they're doing so because those sustainability practices bring payback to them and all the players downstream. So, for example, soy farmers were among the first to use technology like global positioning satellites to apply only what was needed to the crop or to the soil. So not only does that reduce the input costs and reduce waste, which is a great sustainability practice, it reduces the variability. So the U.S.
Right.
soy farmer, the other thing to think about is more than 95% of the soybeans grown in the United States come from family-owned farms that have been in the business for generations. I know soy farmers who are seventh generation or more farmers. They know their crops. They know their soil. They're caring for it for the next generation. So because of those practices, starting off, we start off with a high quality, consistent product. The next step that other countries may need to do is to dry their beans because they're high moisture. In tropical climates such as Brazil, there's much higher moisture when the beans are
Right.
harvested, and they require mechanical drying. That's not the case in the United States. In the United States, the beans are naturally dried in the field. They are consistent in moisture composition throughout the supply chain, and this brings value all the way to the crusher, all the way to the feed mill, all the way to the feed trough, to the
Great.
animal. And now let's talk about the animal. Um, Animals, to reach their genetic potential, need to have consistent levels of the essential amino acids and calories that are required to reach that genetic potential. When you have highly variable ingredients, such as soybean meal made from other origins like Brazil and Argentina, such as these byproducts like distillers grains and other byproducts or protein sources that have variability of nutrient composition, they have variability of moisture, they have variability of digestibility, the animals don't perform as well. Having a consistent diet means the animals will convert more efficiently, and there's been a lot of research on that topic.
Thank you so much, Tom, for all this information today. You have piled on a lot of information, a short amount of time about the consistency of U.S. soy. So we really appreciate it. Thanks again for your time.
Sarah, I enjoyed this conversation very much. Thank you for having me.
Me too. I enjoyed it a lot. So thanks again. And this information is partially funded by the U.S. Soy Checkoff. This is Sarah Mikesell with the Poultry Site.